and welcome to the Genuine Learning Blog. My name is Melissa Galasso, and today we're going to talk about hosting. If you've been in any of my A&A updates in the last year, you've probably heard me talk about hosting. It is a topic that when I teach it for the first time, many people are surprised by the depth and the width of the hosting standard. Many people, when they hear the word hosting, think software as a service, which is not what the definition of hosting is for ethics. And so as a result, last year, you probably remember that we had the hosting standard issued and it was supposed to be effective for September of 2018. In August, the AICPA's Professional Ethics Executive Committee delayed the effective date until July 1 of 2019 in order to provide additional information in the form of FAQs. Well, last week, the AICPA issued these FAQs and updated the frequently asked questions non-attest services. I'm going to go over all 7 questions, very high level, just to make sure that you guys are aware, first off, of the change, and 2, hopefully it answers some of your questions. I don't think all of my questions were answered, but I do think they did a really good job addressing some of the common questions that were out there. So we are going to dive right in. So question number 1, a member uses a third-party subscription clearinghouse to issue attest reports. Is the subscription clearinghouse considered a portal under item E? This is in the AICPA's best interest because they are pretty much describing Rivio, which is the AICPA's offering related to attest services, and similar to how the SEC hosts, or I guess I shouldn't use the word host, collects and distributes information for public companies. Rivio is the equivalent for private companies, is optional as opposed to the SEC requirements in Edgar. And so this is an offering that the AICPA has for public accounting firms to use Rivio as a method of acting as a clearinghouse. And so as a result, people were questioning whether Rivio was going to cause issues in hosting, and clearly they answered no. So long as it is a document repository system, it's hosted and run by a third party, and each of the members have their own user agreements, then they said that that would not be hosting under the interpretation. So no surprise on that one. Question 2, must a member terminate a client's hosting or client's access to data or records covered by the hosting services interpretation prior to July 1, 2019? Because that's the new effective date. And they said, no, you are not required to prior to July 1, but after July 1, you must be in compliance, in that they use the term of reasonable period of time after the completion of the service. So the next question, question 3, is what does that mean? So item E says that in order to avoid providing hosting services, members should terminate an attest client's access to data or records in the portal within a reasonable period of time after the conclusion of the engagement. What is a reasonable period of time? Well, clearly they didn't intend to put a time limit on it, or they would have. So they gave a very, it depends answers. And so you should use your professional judgment. It could be as short as 60 days. It could be up to a year, but it should not be your document retention requirements, is pretty much what they said. So use your professional judgment. Question number 4, this is one I used to get very frequently in the classroom, and so happy to see this one answered. A member prepares and transmits an attest client's income tax return and related schedules for the return in accordance with tax services under the independence rule, and sends the file to the attest using the portal, right? Portals were one of the big questions out there. Must the member terminate the attest client's access to that return within a reasonable period of time after preparing and transmitting the return to avoid providing hosting? The answer is yes. So a lot of people asked about the tax return and if that qualified. So if it is an attest client, yes, it does qualify. Question 5, when a member provides recurring bookkeeping services, could having a third party's general ledger software on the member's server or server leased by the member result in the member providing hosting? The answer here is yes, right? So again, when it's on the member's server, that's when we get into trouble. Question number 6, a member provides an attest client access to sales tax computation software on the member server. The attest client inputs the original data and the software calculates the tax and generates a return which the client downloads and files. What action could the member take to avoid providing hosting? So again, in this scenario, it's going to be deemed to be similar to a portal. So first off, understand the process, make sure that the client doesn't think that you're a backup. to make sure that the client's access is terminated after a reasonable period of time. And then last, but certainly not least in our questions here, a member returned an attest client's data or records used to perform professional service, but kept a copy for documentation. Would the member be providing hosting services if the member complied with the attest client's subsequent request for a copy of its data or records? So this one was a big question that was popping up. If we return it and we keep it for our documentation, and then the client comes back and asks for it, what's going to happen here? And I'm actually going to read this to you. I know I don't like to read to you on the blog, but because of the language they use, it says, no. Paragraph 0.04 allows a member to retain copies of an attest client's data or records as documentation. However, the member should be alert to a situation in which the attest client repeatedly requests copies of data or records, which may signify that the member has begun providing hosting service as a de facto repository for the attest client's data or records. So this is something that we definitely talk about in my classes. If a client treats you basically as a disaster recovery or as a backup, even though it's not in your agreement, that's when you have to be alert to that problem. So kind of excited that they got these out there for you. Not everything that I was hoping for was in here, but a lot of really good things. I wanted you to be aware of this, which is why I put the blog out here, and we'll make sure we get some good information out to the group. But I appreciate very much all of you. As I told you guys in my newsletter, I will be taking vacation for the next 2 weeks. I will have some blogs that we'll post while I'm on vacation, but I will tell you that they will be pre-taped blogs because I am going on vacation and I am not going to be working on blogs while I'm there, but I will be giving you guys some information while I'm out, but not a complete update as we would normally go through. So thank you guys so much for joining me on the Genuine Learning blog, and I hope to see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful and very unstressful busy season, and I look forward to seeing you on a future blog. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.